All right, welcome back to the case study. So let's get straight into it. Just want to throw up a little bit of a disclaimer. Now, what I'm doing in this case study, I'm obviously doing what I would normally do, but I am potentially doing it a little bit faster than what I would do it, okay? For the purposes of the video, I obviously want to make sure I've got content, and I am obviously always in the ad accounts every day and looking and making changes and launching new stuff. But some of the decisions that are being made potentially might be a little bit fast. We'll go through it and I'll explain it as we go. But I just want to throw that out there that, sometimes I'm only letting something run for a day. I potentially might, again, it depends on the data. It depends how I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I feel more aggressive on certain days. Sometimes, if Facebook have been on a rampage shutting things down, I might go a little bit easier. I might not be launching as many ad sets as I usually would. Or if Facebook, seem to be letting things fly a little bit easier and, things aren't getting shut down as much, then I might be more aggressive, right? I might be launching things a little bit more, regularly. I might be, launching new ad sets, testing new ads, etc., etc. So there's different factors that we have to take into account, okay? What I'm going through and the changes that I'm making and the things that I'm launching, just take things with a pinch of salt is what I'm trying to say. It might not be, I may have let it run an extra day, okay, or another 24 hours or 48 hours, or I may have been cutting things a little bit quicker. I'll try and go through and explain, and I'm going to try and explain the thought process behind it. But let's recap. So the last case study update was around the 14th of November, and the first 24 hours I'd launched in an ad account. The ad account got shut down, okay, after 24 hours. Super profitable day, even though it was at low scale. I think spent somewhere close to $300, returned $700. So that was a crazy day. But low scale, fluke. Do you know what I mean? Like what I said in that video, and I think in the recap or the update, was different ad accounts, different results. What works in one ad account isn't always going to work in another. So we've got to take that into account as well. All right, so let's get into this. All right, so what I did was that ad account got shut down, and I just basically took word for word exactly the campaign structure and launched it in a new ad account with a different domain. I didn't want to use the same domain. I also had a new Facebook page as well. Just want to throw that out there. The ad account got shut down. I don't want to use any assets, as in domain Facebook page, that we used in the ad account that got shut down, okay? So that's important to point out. So we launched on the 14th, verbatim, word for word, broad, men, 45 plus, free ad sets. I think because we did $700 in revenue in that initial ad account, I went with $100 a day budgets here. So we started off at 50, if you remember, in the first one. And so I've moved them to $100, okay? Now, these didn't spend all the money because it was, I think, later on in the day by the time they got approved. I actually turned the campaign off because I didn't want them to dump all the budget when I went to bed. So I turned the campaign off because I don't think they got approved till, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No, maybe even a little bit later than that. I missed them getting approved. They spent a little bit. I then turned it off. You can see there they spent $40. This is pretty accurate as well, give or take a few dollars, but fairly accurate. Okay, so I mean they spent a third of their budget. Okay, so I turned that campaign off for the day. One did manage to get a sale, which was image one. Obviously, one sale, we don't take any notice of that. It could just be a complete fluke. We want to see a different, a significant amount of data to be able to judge whether this is going to be a good creative. Again, same creative as the, ad account that got disabled. And like I said, every ad account can be different, okay? What works in one might not work in the other. I think we had video one in the initial ad account that absolutely looked amazing in the first 24 hours before getting disabled, with 3 or 4 sales and a ridiculously high ROI. So, let's see if that continues. Potentially not, right? All right, so that was the 14th. Launched 3 of the same. 15th came around. and I'm going to look at the overview, okay? And then I'll break down into the ad sets and ads. Okay, so again, accurate, give or take, $5, $10, $20, but it's in and around 525 spent. At 420, so we had a loss. Now the one thing that really caught my attention was this, the conversion value. Way too low. Again, this is off one day. It's not enough for me to be, okay, we need to do something serious about this right now. However, what I would usually do is allow this to run for a couple more days just to see if this is something that we need to act on, or if it was just, a fluke on the day, right? It was just a bad day. We have them. This is why we don't always want to look, unless we're spending a good amount of money, we don't always want to look at the data on a daily basis, on one day. We want to look at data over the last 3 days, 7 days, right? Depending on how much you're spending. If you're only spending $50 a day, you might be better looking at data over the last 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, because then you're going to get a decent amount of data, which is going to allow you to make a significant decision, right? A decision based off significant data. If you're making data based off $50, that's not enough data. If you're making data, making decisions based off data off one day, that's not enough, right? There's different factors. We've got days of the week, we've got weekends. What you'll notice when you start running a decent amount of data, when you've got a decent amount of data, you'll notice that some days perform better than others. Just like some ad accounts perform better than others, just like some creative performs better than others, some audiences perform better than others, sorry. You'll start noticing this, right? So I'm not sure what day the 15th was. We'd be able to work it out. I'm not going to. Let's say it was Tuesday. In fact, we can just go and have a quick look, just break it down. Oh, it was Tuesday. So Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday's a bad day for this offer, for this audience, for this niche. Okay? But I don't like the look of this conversion value. Again, like I said in the beginning, I am maybe making decisions a little bit more aggressively. So let's break this down into the ad sets, because what I did was I decided to chuck in another image, okay, and another video. So 2 more creatives. So now we have a total of 5 creatives, 5 ad sets. Okay, we've got the 2 images and we've got 3 videos. Now on this day, video 2, video 3 got nothing. Video 1, which was the video that did well in the first 24 hours, got 1 sale. Image 1 got 1 sale and image 2 got 3 sales. But the average order value on image 2 is far too low. The conversion rate, great. I mean, it's not ideal, but we were targeting, UK, Ireland, Australia. We're targeting countries that maybe don't convert as well. UK definitely doesn't convert as well, but the way how UK usually makes it up is the CPMs are much lower. The click-through rates are usually quite high, giving you a low cost per click, right? So the traffic's cheaper in the UK compared to the US, but the conversion rate can often be significantly lower. All right, so this is image 2. Looked good, decent conversion rate. I mean, depending on how much you're paying for the traffic, right? I wouldn't usually like these EPCs at all, but because the traffic was quite cheap, it sort of offsets that, right? Now, I mean, there's so many factors and we can go down so many rabbit holes here. I don't really want to, but a good, a valid reason for us having this low conversion rate is we're getting such cheap traffic. Maybe we're getting served, bottom of the barrel traffic. I don't know. But, this is something that I wanted to act on. Okay, so on the 15th, I launched 2 new creatives. Not because of this. This was nothing to do with the conversion value. I just wanted to test a couple more creatives, okay? But because of that low AOV, there was 2 options that I had, or 2 things that I wanted to try, okay? Or 2 options. I'm just going to say 2 options. They both revolve around audiences, okay? So what I had, or what everyone has, is the ability with ClickBank is obviously to integrate your Facebook pixel inside ClickBank's built-in tracking platform, or inside the dashboard you can install your pixel, etc., etc. And what that allows is for the order value to be passed back. So you make a purchase, the purchase was for $220. That purchase is then, you have that order value inside your ad account. And obviously, when you go to build a custom audience in Facebook, you can now build an audience based off of the highest average order value. So Facebook pulls together the people who have, made the biggest orders, the most valuable customers, right? And they put that into your audience. Obviously, you can then build a lookalike off that. That, in essence, should help target people who are potentially going to spend a little bit more money, right? Hence, increasing your average order value. Now, the issue with that is you're going off Facebook, right? And we know Facebook's not very accurate. We know Facebook's never been accurate. I don't think I've even had a close to 80% accuracy, even before iOS 14. So we have to take that into account. So that's not the option that I want to go with. Okay, so the other option is to approach the vendor and to ask for their hard data, customer list, right? A hash file based off of average order value. Now, fortunately, the vendor here allowed me to do that and sent me the file. I think there was around 4,000 IDs on it, so 4,000 customers. I think Facebook matched around 2,500, which means we've got a really good sized audience. Now I'm going to move into this because you can't see this right now. So what I did, if we move to the 16th, so the 15th, what did we do? 420 back, 525 spent. So let's move to the 16th and a little bit more green. Not ideal. We lost whatever it was, $100 yesterday, the day before. We're around break even, a little bit of profit, nothing to shout about. Again, overall, average order value, not good. So now this is the second day, right? This is where the decision was made. Or I'd already started putting in the work, but this is where it was launched, to sort of see if we could maybe offset this low order value. Positive news, conversion rate overall was up. EPCs slightly up, CPC slightly up as well. Break even, I'm happy to break even, be slightly in profit in the first couple of days of launch, and especially when we're just testing different things, when we're digging around trying to find those pockets of profit. So I'm happy with this result. Obviously, it'd be great to be more in profit. The thing you've got to realize here is this is the bottleneck that I've assessed, right? I have decided that the bottleneck here is the conversion value based off of yesterday and today's data. If I can work on that bottleneck, this average order value, and we break even with this low average order value, this conversion value. Now, if we can get this up to 120, that's an extra $35 per conversion that's going to stack on this profit. So that'd be an extra $350 based off 10 sales, $35 profit per sale extra, which would then allow this to go to, whatever that is off the top of my head, around $1,200. Now we're laughing. Now we're nearly 50% ROI. That's how I'm thinking, right? And I want to share this with you because I feel it's important. I feel it's, there's a lot of people that have a couple of days like this, they're not making money, and they, give up on the campaign. The campaign's shit. It's not getting the results I want. It's not profitable right off the bat. Start again. That's fine. You can do that, and I've done that before as well. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, the right thing to do, whatever the word is. But there's always pockets of profit. This is why a track is so important, because we can drill down. We're not relying on Facebook. We've got all these different things we can drill down on. The OS, device type, country, date, part of day, or hour of day, etc., etc. There's a ton of things we can do here, and we're going to go into that in a second. But right now, I don't even need to go that far down. I know if I can increase this, the problem's solved, right? We're profitable. So that's the thinking, right? So we can see here, image 2, similar conversion rate to the day before, but terrible conversion value again. Potentially image 2, although it's, looking decent as in getting sales, average order value is not where we want to be. I think it was $68 on the day before. It's $41 now. That's horrendous. Okay. Image 1, better. In fact, really good image one, free sales, really good conversion rate, EPC is decent, and a good ROI. Okay, again, give or take it with a pinch of salt how much we spent here. Might be a little bit off, but remember these were around $100 a day ad sets. Okay, I might have increased these. We'll go into the ad account and have a look and tally it up anyway, but I don't want to skip back and forth between screens. I want to go through and give you my thoughts here, and then we'll go into the ad account. Video 1, again, not great. Video 3, managed to get a sale. And then what I did here, let me highlight these. These were the first 2 that I launched, okay? And I launched video 1, image 2 in 2 lookalikes, okay? A lookalike 5 of the average order value or the highest average order value from the vendor, and then lookalike 5 to 10%, okay? Targeting Wi-Fi. So you can see these changes I've made, right? New audience with what I thought, because again, I'm making decisions pretty quick here. There's not enough data to tell me whether these 2, this image 2 and video 1 is the best creative. I'm sort of going on the fly here based off of what data we do have. Video 1 did well in the previous ad account. I'm going to use that as sort of, okay, this could do well. I haven't got it, definite. Okay, so again, what I said at the beginning, take this with a pinch of salt. I am making decisions quite fast and maybe not as much thought going into him as what there should be. Or there is thought going into him, but there's not enough significant data to back up my decision as what I'd like, right? But I want to do this fast because I want to try and eliminate this issue of the low conversion value. Okay, so video 1, image 2, and here we go. I'll explain these in a second. So these were first launched. I launched these, and then I was still going through the data, and what I noticed was if we go to country, again, we haven't got enough data to make this anywhere near accurate or significant. But I was tallying up, cross-referencing. The UK is taking the budget, right? Taking the majority of the budget, majority of the impressions, shares, clicks, etc. It's the cheapest traffic. But look at the conversion value. There's been 6 sales. I feel like this is slightly out. I feel this is a little bit less in the actual ad account. But even so, it was definitely, considerable amount negative. Okay, enough to be, okay, we really need to take UK out of this. Same with Australia. US, it's had a few hundred clicks to the offer, a couple hundred clicks to the offer, no sales, but I know the US will convert on this offer. Again, that's bad and good and bad to sort of know. I just know US converts on pretty much any health offer, but to assume that is a little bit stupid on my part as well. But chances are, I'm pretty 99% certain the US is actually going to convert on this offer, even though I don't have the data to back it up. But I'm not going to take it out. It's only had a couple hundred clicks. And as we know, it only needs a couple of big sales to sort of offset that. Whereas the UK is taking 3,000 clicks on the ad and only giving us 6 sales at a real low conversion value. That's not good enough. So UK, Australia, they're out. All right. Now, obviously, we've got some really green countries here: New Zealand, Canada, Bermuda. New Zealand and Canada both with 3 sales each, which is good. Good conversion rates, really good EPCs. I'm not really going to look at Bermuda because it's only 1 sale. I do like to chuck these in, and this is obviously a little bit, people miss this a lot, obviously really small countries. When you've got your offers on ClickBank that only ship to the top tier countries like US, Australia, Canada, UK, New Zealand, those English speaking geos, people neglect that there's obviously overseas territories. So Bermuda is a British overseas territory. Cayman Islands is a British overseas territory. Guam is a US territory. Where else? Northern Mariana Islands, Virgin Islands. Okay, I don't know why Jamaica's in here, but you can see you've got US Virgin Islands, you've got Northern Mariana, Cayman, Guam, and then I don't know why they've got these in, but obviously clicks come through from bots, reviewers, and obviously people spying on ads. So there we go. But I often find real good profit in these overseas territories. There's nowhere near enough scale to put these in on their own, but it's good to have in a campaign that does pick up a few sales here and there. It just helps add to the profit, right? So there's a little tip. All right, so let's get back to breaking this down. So I launched this and this initially. And then I thought, I wish I'd have taken the UK and Australia out before launching that. So then I launched this and this, okay? So you can see the initial launchings, didn't get any sales. Again, you know, there wasn't really enough clicks anyway. I think they do get sales on the next day, which we'll check out in a minute. Well, let's change this back to the daily. All right, so we've got the lookalike 5, excluding UK and Australia. Image 2, getting served most of the traffic. Got 2 sales, real good conversion rate, EPCs, great ROI. These again are $100 a day. So take into account, this is potentially $100, depending when it went live. But look at the average order value. That's exactly what we're trying to eliminate or trying to solve here, right? So that's a good start. Now that doesn't mean it's going to work like that all the time. We're still going to have bad days and good days, but this is the highest average order value that we've had, okay? Now, what you'll often find as well is this can have a positive effect on other ad sets. When we start getting an ad set that's getting a decent average order value, we also start seeing other ad sets creep up as well. Now, obviously, this is still quite low. We want to be around 120 and up, really. But happy with this. And then the 5 to 10 audience also got a sale, probably around break even because I think these were spent. But look, video 1, look at that conversion rate. Again, it's 1 sale. It doesn't mean anything, but it's good to see. Okay, so that was the 16th. So let's now jump to the 17th, which was a Thursday. And now we're starting to look even better, okay? So now we've broken into decent profit. You know, conversion value, you know, it's better. It's definitely better. It's way better than $85. Would I like it to be more? Yeah, I would. I'd like it to be, you know, 120 plus, but it's near enough, right? It's near enough. Now, again, is it going to stay that way? Probably not. We're still going to get bad days, but the fact that we've managed to increase this by nearly $20 or $30, sorry, is massive. Look at the difference that has. We spent $1,000. We made $1,400. This is profit. It's exactly, you know, our KPIs are met. I want to be 30% plus ROI. Again, give or take, this could be out by $10, $20, but, you know, it's still a few $100 profit. It's still good ROI. Again, we'll cross-reference in the ad account. All right, so here's the initial ad set that we launched. This was still targeting the UK and Australia. You can see it had a really good day, $215 conversion value. The ones excluding UK and Australia had a bad day. This happens. 1 sale, it was a low sale. It's going to happen, right? Broad, video 1. Okay, so our original ad set. 2 sales at 190 conversion value each, which is great. And then we had what I did here. So let's go to it again. So up until this point, we're spending $100 a day per ad set, right? Well, I want to up the ante a bit now. I'm seeing $100 a day. And obviously, you know, we're getting some sales. We're having good and bad days. Now, the way to not guarantee, but to maximize your chances of having a consistent ad set, get consistent sales, is by increasing the budget. Okay, if you've got a $100 a day budget or a $50 a day budget, and your CPA, your cost per acquisition, is around $100, and you're spending $50 a day, then potentially you're only going to make 1 sale every 2 days because you pay $100 per sale. And you're spending $50 a day. So you have to take that into account. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days on low budgets. You're going to have good days and bad days on big budgets. But the bigger budgets have more consistency in my experience, okay? Again, this is only how my opinion, my experience. I'm not saying it's the right way, not saying it's the wrong way. This is what I feel, okay? So what I did was I duplicated the 5, okay? Excluding the UK and Australia. So it would have been this 5 here. Just highlighting everything. So it would have been this dupe and increase the budget to 300. So I tripled the budget. New ad set, $300 budget from start, okay? Now I also added in image 1. Remember, this was just image 2 and video 1 initially, okay? So I added in image 1. And look, image 1 stormed it. You know, it did really well. Got a high conversion rate. You know, landing page click-through rate, caught my eye, but you know, not really that asked, because this one was just a high conversion rate. Now, conversion value, on the other hand, not great, but again, good days, bad days, right? Video one, again, another high conversion rate, all of that good stuff. You know, it spent the least out of all three creatives, but you know, good sign that it got a sale. Obviously, the images are taking the bulk of the impressions. So this is a good ad set. This ad set did well. Again, conversion value could be a bit higher. Again, but overall in the campaign, it's exactly what we want to see. So hopefully that continues. All right, so let's now jump to the 18th, which was Friday. And again, very similar ROI. Again, take with a pinch of salt. So we made, I think, $1,400, $1,450 yesterday or the day before. So I wanted to try and spend that, which we did, and we made back 2,000, okay? Now our overall average conversion value dropped, okay? Or just over $100. Again, we're expecting this. It isn't always going to be where we want it to be. But when we look at the individual ad sets, okay, this definitely looks a bit better. And even drill down to the individual ads, you know, we're looking like we've definitely got some real good pockets here, okay? So here's our initial one that we looked at yesterday, which we launched, the 5% with the $300 budget. Again, consistency, right? Look at the ROI. Now, again, this is, you know, potentially there's another $30 spent here, but to return $590, even if it did spend $300, is still $290 back in profit. That's really good. Image two, image one storming again with a real high conversion rate. Great EPC. In fact, like, this is a superb EPC if we were to maintain this. And I'm catching down here as well, image one. Again, EPCs galore. Look at the EPCs on image one. So what you can see here, what I did, obviously you've probably already noticed it. So I had this ad set, $300 a day, doing pretty well. And now I'm like, okay, I know how to get the conversion value up. Okay, we're starting to see that conversion value go up now. Again, you know, swings and roundabouts, peaks and troughs. It's not always going to be up, but you know, when we drill down and we look at it, we've definitely got some good conversion values here. Okay. So then what I want to do is I want to start bringing out new audiences. I'm happy with these three ads. Okay. Image one, image two, and video one performing. Okay. Now, did we test them enough? No, probably not. But now we're giving them a test here. We're taking them into these bigger ad sets. So video two, video three are pretty much put to bed. Okay. We've got video one, and image two. We may revisit testing video two and video three to give them more data to see if we can get a read, and also obviously testing testing different creatives, copy, etc. But for now, I want to, you know, carry this momentum through. So this is our initial big budget. So what I did was I duped it. And I added in an interest ad set, TV channels. So some of the TV channels that I think could do well. And I mean, it did do pretty well. It did all right. You know, $95, so not the greatest. Again, this has probably spent $300. So again, if it has spent $300, there's $266 in profit. Image two, you know, is where this low conversion value came from. Image one and video one, much better. So this is really positive. TV channels, Wi-Fi again, launched on the 18th, which is today. So it didn't even get a full day, and it obviously did pretty well. Then I also did the same, but removed everything and just targeted broad. Okay, so removed the interests or the lookalikes. And broad, again, image two is the one that's holding us back here. Now, we're spotting this pattern as well, right? Obviously not all the time, because this is quite a good conversion value for image two up here. But when we've looked at previous days, image two has always been quite low overall. And we can break that down in a second as well. But image one obviously helped this ad set. with a 135 conversion value, and obviously a really high ROI. Again, we'll take that with a pinch of salt, but it's still going to be high ROI even if it's spent another $40 on top of that. Okay, so really good day. I'm going to finish it up there because this is Friday. We're going to break it down a little bit. I'll finish it up as in finish going through this, the rest of the days. We'll recap after the weekend. But what I do want to show you is what we can do here. So I'm just going to reset this because now we can have a look at ads. So I'm going to have a look at the ad. Okay, so this breaks it down a little better, right? Image 2, again, take everything with a pinch of salt. We don't know exactly how much it's spent there. We would be able to find this out in Facebook. But I'm going to take this as is, okay? Now we can also break this down by the whole week, Monday to Friday. And look, it's just not performing where we want it to. Image 2 needs culling, okay? The conversion rate is terrible compared to image 1. EPCs, terrible compared to image 1. Conversion values, image 1 isn't that great, conversion value, but the conversion rate is twice as much, more than twice as much. The EPCs are more than twice as much, okay? So again, if this is accurate, which, it's not going to be too far off, this is where we want to be. Obviously, I'd like to see this higher, but with the conversion rate and the cheap traffic, high click-through rates, it offsets the conversion value, okay? All right, so we can see, we compare these two, image 2, video 1, very, very similar conversion rate. Very, very similar cost per action or acquisition. But because of this average order value, video 1 is profitable, image 2 isn't. This is why we want to break this down. We want to be able to see this, okay? We'll take a look at some of the other stuff and see what data. We've got 48 sales. So this is I'd like to see a bit more data, but this is going to give us, a good idea of what's working. So now we can see US is getting sales. This must have been from the last couple of days. Yeah, so US is looking much better. Australia actually looking half decent there as well, but not enough for me to be convinced. The UK definitely sucked our budget. Look, the EPCs are less than 10 cents. That's terrible. Australia, a much better conversion value, but the conversion rate isn't allowing us to see that. It's just, break even. After a few days, I'd want to see this, and the amount of money that we spent on Australia, the amount of clicks it's had, I want to see better results in this, okay? The US has only just started coming around. Obviously, the first few days, the US wasn't getting any sales, right? The sales have only just started coming in the last couple of days. So overall, the US doesn't look great. But again, when we break it down to the last 2 days, that's where all the sales have come from. And it looks a lot better. It doesn't look amazing. It just looks much better, right? The conversion rate looks good. EPCs aren't that great, but, only takes a couple of decent sales, especially now we've got this conversion value rising for us to really take a good look at that. All right, let's go back to the week again and just carry on breaking down what else we've been testing. So we also had the landers, right? I basically took the exact same campaign. So we started with landing page 2 and landing page 5. Okay, so started landing page 2, landing page 5. Look how bad landing page 2 got off to, by the way. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So landing page 2 got cut, okay, for obvious reasons. And so landing page 5 was getting the traffic. Then I whipped up another lander to test against landing page 5. And landing page 6 is now looking, and obviously where's landing page 3 and 4 and 1? They're in this campaign as well, they've just not been used. So landing page 6, slightly better conversion rate, slightly better click-through rate, much better EPC, okay, much better ROI, much better conversion value. So again, going back to factors, right, there's different factors. Obviously, we're looking at the ad sets and we're playing around with creatives and we're testing audiences to see if we can up the conversion rate or the conversion value. But we can also do that here as well. You know, we've got all these points of control, the things that we can control. We can control the ad, we can control the lander. We can't control the offer. So the offer is irrelevant, right? This is why we need a good offer. The offer needs to convert. It's the most important part of the puzzle, having an offer that converts. But the things that we can control, the ad, and obviously the targeting and the lander, these are in our control. So we can play around with these and test these to start bumping things up, the bottlenecks, you know, trying to eliminate the bottlenecks. Okay, so in all, you know, while we're in the tracker, I feel like we're looking pretty good. Now, obviously, Monday to Friday, we're profitable. You know, we've spent just short of 4K, 4.8 back, so at $800 profit. I'll take that for the initial testing phase, right? Our testing week. Okay, we're profitable. Now, obviously, refunds, chargebacks, that's going to eat into that. That's why I always want to try and be above 30%. But we take a look at the last 2 days, we're looking a lot better, right? $950 profit in the last 2 days alone. Our conversion value is looking better, okay? These are the things that we got to look at. So let me just change that back. We'll just take another quick look at some other things we can break down. So let's have a look at OS. Looks like it's coming from desktop, the majority. I don't like targeting desktop alone. I've never really had much success. I see the ad costs go way high. iOS and Android, even Stevens. Obviously, we'll see how this goes. Potentially, we might need to bring in desktop only, but it's not something I want to do. There's just not enough traffic there, and it often results in a much higher CPM, which means, you know, we're paying way more than what we want to. Let's have a look at connection type. So you can see here, this is why I switched to Wi-Fi. So look, cable DSL, that's Wi-Fi as well. Anything coming from the router. You can see why I switched to Wi-Fi only, right? In those later ad sets. Look at the difference. There's a decent amount of clicks gone to cellular, meaning, you know, mobile data. But only 2 sales. And it makes sense, right? You've got to think, it's a VSL. I don't know exactly how long it is, but it's going to be around 45 minutes to an hour. The fact that if someone's not connected to Wi-Fi probably means they're not at home, which means do they have 45 minutes to an hour to watch a VSL? Now, the reason why I don't go Wi-Fi straight away is I want to know. I've had a lot of campaigns. In fact, you know, I usually do keep it auto. With cellular included, because I often see it do really well. In this case, not so, right? Which is why it's important to test and obviously look at this data. This is why a tracker is so important. If you're not using a tracker, you're just leaving so much money on the table. You can't get, you can't see this data. You can't rely on Facebook to tell you this data, you know. And there's a ton of trackers out there. This is Binham. I recommend Binham. It's the one I've been using for the best part of 3 years now. I have used other ones. I've used CPV Lab, which was okay, but it got old fast. I've used Volume a little bit. Again, it was okay, but I found it expensive for what it did. What else have I used? I've used RedTrack very briefly. Not, you know, RedTrack looks good. I just haven't spent enough time using it. Everything I need is in Binham. It offers pretty much everything that RedTrack and other trackers do. The support team is amazing. They do pretty much all the tech stuff for me if I need tech stuff doing. So I really recommend Binham. So obviously that's a little bit of a plug. I do have an affiliate link down below where you get a 30-day free trial for Binham. So if you do need a tracker, then I recommend you definitely at least give this a whirl. And obviously you can give it a whirl for free. They help set everything up, install it on your server, etc., etc. So it's really good value. And obviously you get to drill through all this data. So the link's down below in the description, 30-day free trial. But even if you don't want to go with Binham, even if you don't want to go through my affiliate link, make sure you check out a decent tracker. Red Track is definitely one to check out. Binham, obviously. And to be fair, I don't know, there's that many. I can't even remember what they are, but there's a lot of good ones out there. All right, so this is enough through the tracker, okay? I want to jump into the ad account real quick just to give you an insight to make sure I'm not, Billy bullshitting you. All right, so we know we spent 3,970 or 3,968. So we'll jump in, and it's basically just to show you that I'm not telling porkies. So 14th to the 18th, this is our campaign, and we can see 3,950, okay? So a little bit less, $10, $15 less than what Binham is showing. I'm not really going to break anything down. We've pretty much covered everything in the tracker. So there's no point in really going through anything here. You can see, we've got the AOV ad sets, the initial broad ones, which were at 100, which some were bumped to 120, then the ones at 300. I'm not going to go through everything like that, but yeah, hopefully this has been of value. It's definitely looking better. Thoughts on that? Going to see how it goes over the weekend. I would like to scale going over the weekend. We'll see. I've got a few things to do over the weekend, so I'm not really going to be around that much. When I scale, I like to be around for obvious reasons. You can't rely on rules, using Facebook's automatic rules, because obviously the tracking just isn't accurate enough. So part and parcel of being a media buyer running at scale is you, or a media buyer, someone on your team, needs to be around at all times if you're running at all times. One of the best ways I like to optimize is day parting. We haven't got enough data, but I can show you how that looks. I like to look at the hour of the day and day of the week, and we can often spot patterns of profitability, patterns of negative ROI. There's not enough data here just yet, but we potentially could run 5 till 2. Do you know what I mean? Like if we had sales here, I don't really like this 8 till 9 o'clock slot, obviously, but the conversion rate here is good. It's all right there. There's good here. Like I like to spot. Again, usually after a couple hundred sales, this would be, we'd be looking at this, because then we would have some decent clarity. But as for now, we'll leave that one alone. But yeah, hopefully this has been of value. Hopefully, there's something to take away from this. Any questions, let me know below. Make sure you like the video if you did get value. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, the Binham affiliate link for the free 30-day trial is below. So if you are looking for a tracker or you want to test a new one out, I definitely recommend it, and you can get the free 30-day trial. All right, guys, see you in the next one.